There is a $5 trillion passage that no one talks about. There's a new group post. Let's look it over and talk about it. I got a clip here between the interviews with Chris Larsson, what Phil Kwok shared. Mikkel talked about CME with us, getting Brad Garlinghouse to talk about CME. We got some new information about BlackRock from Ripple Van Winkle. They are now managing $10 trillion. I learned some more about Crypto Eerie near the end. A movie that only talks about XRP will be made. Let's get started, folks. This comes from Satoshi's Scoop. Let's love them. Let's follow them. My goal is to help all of these platforms as much as possible. The $5 trillion highway is something that no one talks about. When people hear the word XRP, they think of transfers. But the real game is a corridor that moves $5 trillion a year, and Ripple is already a part of it. This is the secret they don't want you to see. So this little image is all they're showing. Asia Pacific, the Middle East, and Europe make up the overlooked corridor, which is a banking superhighway. Over $5 trillion a year flows through this corridor to power global settlements. While the rest of the world fights over cases, Ripple has already built the rails across it in secret. Why does this matter? Banks still use SWIFT and Nostro Vostro funds. It's old, it's expensive, and it's slow. Ripple's bet is to replace pre-funded with XRP-based on-demand funding. Where the test went live was in this quarter. Just to give you a little more background, it said that there could be between 20 and 27 trillion locked up around the world in Nostro Vostro as inflation and other issues cause the prices of different countries' currencies to rise. That money is no longer useful. It's not being used in the best way possible. As you drive down the street, do you ever look over and see what look like brand new skyscrapers? And right in the middle is a really old booze store that's been there for 30 years. That's not the best use for that land. When are they going to tear that down and build something better on that spot so people can use it, like a park or a new building? Also, our banking system is going through the same thing. As you look around, you realize that SWIFT has become a little faster. It's going to happen in the next hour or the next day. A lot of those payments are, but the price is still very high. We could make that even faster, so it only takes 3 to 5 seconds, and then we could lower the price to $95. If you really wanted to, you could even lower it to pennies. It goes without saying that these banks and other institutions will charge dollars to move that value, but you can make doing business so much cheaper and get all that Nostro Vostro money. This is something I talk about a lot on this show. Think about getting in. What could $5 or $10 trillion in the US be used for? Instead of just sitting in bank accounts doing nothing, those banks could lend that money to businesses, people going to school, for home loans, car loans, or anything else. This would create new services for customers and add to GDP and growth. And I see the writing on the wall here. They won't say outright that they're switching to Ripple, XRP, or HBR, though. For as long as they can, they won't want to tell anyone. They're going to switch to this new system and then say, oh, the new system uses crypto? We meant to say that, but forgot. Guys, I'm sorry I wasn't paying attention. This is the new method. Well, what the heck? And I thought, what the heck? I saw you 5 years ago. It's been my job to listen. This is where I put my bets. Let us see what takes place. Come back to this. Off track. SBI Remit said it would use XRP as a bridge queue. Renzi for transfers between Japan and the Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia starting in 2021. Trangolo as proof of size, or in 2021, on-demand liquidity went live in 25 quarters across Asia-Pacific. Bhutan's CBDC pilot, the launch of Ripple, the Palau USD-backed stablecoin, coverage on CoinDesk, the MasterCard CBDC partner program, and the MasterCard blog. Now, I believe that many of these are tests for the bigger countries, since they happen in smaller countries, to show the World Bank, the European Union, France, and the United States that these test projects are working. They have jobs. We can mint, burn, and really keep a better eye on the supply than you are, and we can keep track of everything. People in every country often wonder what the government does with all the tax money it gets. It's possible that this will make things clearer for people and boost trust in the government. That didn't sound good, but I don't think it will happen. Oh, what it means. While Ripple's cases were getting a lot of attention, the company was also working on some of the world's fastest trade routes, including those in East Asia, Southeast Asia, trade finance, the UK, and the EU. It was also working on stablecoins and CBDC. The big view, the backdoors to a $5 trillion trade flow are hidden in what looks like a remittance route today. Ripple took the place of SWIFT. It built a train system that no one could see. That's a great post by Satoshi Scoop. Thanks a lot, friend. Let's hear this out. Here is Chris Larsson being questioned about the store of value. The idea that it can be used to store value is already a change, right? A lot of people want to know what it's used for. Like, all right, that's enough, right? One of a kind is the act or idea of something that can transfer value but not balloon in this world. So when someone asks, what's that thing about money? Why would you want it? I mean, are you kidding me? Because people around the world value it. We already know that these things are important in and of themselves and will become a bigger part of the world economy. That's good. Okay, Mikkel is here to talk about XRP. Could XRP ETFs be the most popular thing to ever come out? Let's play. Right now, more people are interested in the CME than in Bitcoin. This is probably the most non-retail market out there. More XRP than Solana and more XRP than Ethereum. Friends, the amount of money we're going to talk about is tremendous. We talked about the XRP ETFs that are coming soon and will likely bring in between $8 and $9 billion. Based on what we can see here from the CME, it wouldn't surprise me if the XRP ETFs were some of the most popular ETFs ever available. Most likely, he's not wrong, guys. He most likely isn't wrong. I think he's on the right track. 104 million worth of XRP futures options. I'm not sure what this is with the happy face and the swoosh. What does that mean? I think that might not be true. That is, smart money is betting big on what XRP will do next in the next few days. $104 million is what's being talked about here in CME futures. This is the XRP futures digital asset for September 26, 2025. Brad Garlinghouse did tweet about this, I guess. The XRP futures contracts she got from CME Group were the fastest ever, with just over 3 months. That is bullish, folks. That is bullish. Also, to give you some more background, we have talked about this before, but XRP futures hit 1 billion in open interest faster than any other CME crypto offering. It beat out well-known products like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which took longer to reach the same milestone. What does this say? In these futures contracts, the XRP army is showing up because they think that XRP will be worth more in the future than it is now. People are betting billions of dollars on this idea. With so many copies sold, it does talk about Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana. That's the number, 180,000. 1,000 for Bitcoin, 127,000 for Ethereum, 9.2 thousand for Solana, and 8,000 for XRP. Also, Solana looks pretty tasty. In the past, CME's crypto suite as a whole had... That's not how it works. The only reason they're in the room is because they see a real chance. As part of tokenization, Ripple has been making rails. Tokenization is the way of the future, as BlackRock has already said in public. XRP is right in the middle of those two things when you put them together. This is no longer talk. This is the biggest money manager in the world, and it fits with Ripple's plan for global banking. So ask yourself, are you ready before BlackRock makes its move clear? I talked about this a lot more. Check my boyfriend has on almost the same color shirt as me. Have to respect it. Okay. It was interesting to read this post because it was about state banks. XRP Queen really wants to ban trade. I looked into this company and it doesn't seem like a trustworthy one. Be very careful. I would not even touch this company with a 10-foot stick. They got in touch and asked if they could work with them. I told them, no way. That being said, they love talking about it. Just be very careful. I'm here for the clip, ladies and gents. I'm not here to trade BXE tokens. Do not do it. Do not do it. We met with the head of the Central Bank of Albania while we were in Albania for the Capital Club event. This man was named Fulani. He was the person in Albania who signs the money. He was asked 3 things. Do central banks run the world? That was the first question I asked him. Like, I can't tell you what I think, he replied, but I can tell you what JP Morgan said. Whoever owns the money owns the world. I asked him a second time, is Bitcoin money? He said, Bitcoin is money. That's what he thought. The third one was that the whole Agenda 2030 will lead to a big restart. Are we going to add digital currencies from central banks to the world's ecosystem? He said without a doubt that it would happen. Okay, let's keep going. Locked, when identities are added to the XRP ledger, Erie says it changes from a payment network to a trust platform. One where you can be sure that value will move because people's names, reputations, and rights change with it. Lots of writing has been done on why qualifications are so important, guys, so let me quickly set the scene. The change makes compliance native to the XRP ledger. This means that third parties, such as exchanges, banks, and institutions, can now issue credentials that show a user organization has passed compliance checks such as Know Your Customer, KYC, and Anti-Money Laundering, AML. With these details, you can link a decentralized ID. This way, identity proof can be proven cryptographically and data can be sent safely without private information being leaked.